Welcome back to the Spit Out. I'm Jefferson. Alongside me, as always, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese, and we're the disc golf world, talking about the MVP Open. But if you want a real breakdown, you probably should just watch yesterday's video because we actually talk about shit. I don't know what we're going to talk about right now.
No, we're just going to spitfire.
That's what we do
We
here.
didn't prep or anything. This is going to be fun. This is just going to be rant style. I love it.
MVP Open, Maple Hill is probably the event I feel like the most left out. I feel the FOMO of not being there.
Do you think it's partly because we've always viewed that spot as like a spectating, like, you know what I mean? Because we are watching more than we are like the job or the work?
I am definitely the person, if I'm just there to consume, I guess, yeah, as a break when we've been there, it's just I want to sit in hole 8 and just drink and have fun. And watch it. I'm not the type of guy that wants,
in the morning.
I'm not picking a card and following. If I want to enjoy it, I'm just sitting there, one hole, maybe I do a little bounce around a couple holes, and I just see the most amount of people. I'm not walking following. So I like that about Maple Hill, and then we've
I feel like I missed it more last year just because you were there and I wasn't. But like,
it was 7-8.
But that one year that we were both there, man, we hit that guy hard. Like we were in it to win it.
Yeah. I really like Maple Hill and what Steve Dodge does, because he does what I feel like resembles the most what I want the future of disc golf to be. He's not afraid to change things. He's not afraid to be a little wacky. And I like that. I think that he stretches the boundaries of disc golf, and he's kind of okay because it's Steve Dodge.
Not afraid to wear plaid either.
He's definitely never afraid. That dude's not afraid to wear anything.
or interesting eyewear. So, like, is it true? Like, he self-proclaimed himself like the Willy Wonka of disc golf?
No, I call him.
Oh, you called him that.
I don't think it's something. I would love it if he did.
That would be
I've
sick.
just been doing it for a while. Dude comes up randomly 2 weeks before the events, like, I'm gonna start selling disc golf wallets. Like, what's up with that, dude? Like, that's crazy. But I do appreciate some of the stuff that he's done. Last year, we saw the addition of Chipmunk Gate. We saw hole 7 and 9 change. This year, we had new holes 10 and 17. Hole 1 short was even used. I like that he wasn't afraid to say, hey, stop throwing the roll around in 2 guys. I'm going to throw a bunch of rocks here. I like that stuff. He's trying to show the intended lines, and he's just making it his own course. He's leaving his footprint on it.
I think I think the diamond layout. Now, I think this played out a little tougher for the FPO, but the diamond layout is a great example of what a course designed around FPO and in part with the input of FPO players, how far that goes in that type of quality of product. I think his merchandising, everything about it, like, you know what I mean? Like the presentation that his vendors and advertisers get, the amount of like camera time and the placement of it, I think is incredible. I think, and like, man, to be honest, like we've been there, there's plenty of like opportunities to have some gripes here. Like there's limited parking, if not none. There's the vendor village is cramped, tight, packed in there to the gills, but somehow still fucking works.
Yeah, it's like a little maze. But
yeah, like it's pretty wild.
Tetris, they
exactly. You got the vibes of the fans. I think it's one of the best communities out there. I think they're willing to celebrate. They're willing to get there early, and they're willing to kind of let it be known they're there. And I think that goes a long way in helping create it, and like the little pockets of like everywhere to watch.
I think that's the best part, that they've made it a purpose to have places for spectators to be. Hole 1, you got the big ass bleachers that anyone could be at. You have hole 8 where they have a whole section dedicated to people yelling, screaming, even to the detriment sometimes of other players putting around. Hole 14 has one of maybe the most underrated spectating spots of all time, being like 40 feet, if that, away from the basket, watching it go fly over the water the entire way, skipping up now Calvin Heimberg's like touching distance away from putting you. Yeah. Like that's like 10 years away from being a problem.
Like UC stood on the shoulder of Dodge's infrastructure. Let's be honest. Like he's the one that kind of brought it in and kind of made it known and shown. And I think it goes a long way. I think lining 18 is sick. The balcony, all of it. Like it's just insane to be there, to be in the presence of it. Yeah, I think it also, the other funny part is I think it translates very well on camera, which is also rare at most of these spots. And maybe that is because it's so confined and packed in, but that does a great job. Yeah, you get an opportunity to go to Maple Hill, whether it's for the event, whether it is to play, you go.
Totally. Yeah. One of the things I like most about the property and what Steve is taking advantage of is he might be one of the only, at least to my knowledge, course that has a full-time sponsor. I'm not talking just, yes, they have the MVP baskets, but you all over the course are seeing banners and it's up year round. Not only that, but they have the Cosmic logos everywhere on the steps, or they have the ledge on 14 has the logo or the name of the company sponsoring it. That way, when you have Gannonberg going off the cage, flying around, all those highlights are going to have the name right there. That's the value that you can bring to a company that maybe they will want to sponsor things in the future.
Yes.
He's setting the great example of what people need to strive for.
The Cosmic steps are like so simple, but so incredible. Like every time I see it, I was like, man, what a great placement. You know, like I mean, it just fits so well on there.
It's not like Ben Kenny's hat. Yeah. I saw finally comments about people not liking that. And I'm like, why do you not like that? Like, what? Why is that bothering you? Just shows a great advertisement. Shout out Dave, dude. Cosmic Dave doing things.
I think people just like to crap on Gannon's caddies.
It's just a trend. If Gannon, you can't talk shit about his game. You talk shit about his caddies.
Yeah,
I get it.
That's a lot of it.
Another thing I like about this tournament is we're not afraid to switch pin locations, and I honestly think we could do it a little bit more.
I would hope.
Let's switch tees. Let's switch pins. Yeah. Let's just get wacky with it. Because why not? It's the final event.
Precisely.
You know? Let's get with it.
Precisely. I'm down for it at all times.
How did you feel about the wild card and that edition this year?
I think it was great, in large part because it allowed the opportunity to tell more storylines. And that's half the battle. Now, I think for some, the coverage did a good job. People think they did a great job. For others, they didn't. I was doing Statmando mostly, you know what I mean, following along that, and then looking at PDGA lives to kind of hit the gaps that were there. But like, I think it's awesome. I think it's great to bring those in. I think it's intriguing to bring those in. I think like Haley King, not like taking top 10s at every event she's been to, even though it's only been like 7 or 8, now having an opportunity to go into the championship because of how well she did, I think is awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that was only because she had a limited tour. And I think that's kind of cool to see, like, hey man, maybe she can make some extra coin and get her name out there and possibly earn a sponsor. Yeah, I think that's another opportunity.
Same with some European names.
Yeah.
You don't have to play the entire tour.
Precisely,
you play well
man.
here, you get in.
Precisely.
And we saw that 3 Europeans in the FPO side got in.
Yeah.
The story maybe wanted to throw it away on the punting green, but he secured that spot. We had Lori Lightning, and then we had Rasmus Sakaripi taking it down in the 1-hole playoff, showing off that cannon. And then I can't disrespect the lefty Chris Clemens for getting in as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
All legit, dude. Like, we saw how, like, dude, people don't understand that final paycheck is huge for them.
So yeah, it's
even when
so
I was just
big.
thinking about Chris Clemens and then Hannah Wynn posted how she made it, like that's gonna be an extra $5+ grand just from showing up, and all of a sudden you make a little bit of a run and you're getting so much more extra bonus that maybe we're gonna extend that tour a whole nother year.
For sure. The bulk of the players that are making that event, that's gonna be their highest payday. The bulk. Like, you know what I mean? And that's pretty sick to be able to do that. And absolutely, man. And it is kind of cool, like, to have that season-long total. And you know what I mean? You also had, like, Rebecca Don, who was on there, who had a chance. You had some names, and I think it's kind of cool. And, like, it's a neat aspect. I like it. I don't think they should. I think this should stay. And I think it will help along those lines. I know some people jumped on it, and I know others kind of were only... the race ahead of them was only important. You know what I mean? Who was going to win? But yeah, man, the more the players, the more the competition, the more wild cards, the kind of like underdogs to kind of root for, I think is awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that as well. I think the wild card should stick around. I like just that there's something different to pay attention to. Now, I made a comment in yesterday's video about it being a little bit difficult to pay attention to, and maybe that's because I'm not super focused in on the live, and I just all of a sudden Nate Doss is tossing out like Matteo's in now. Oh wait, 4 points here, and they're not in the championship because they're actually, I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, but all it was is I know there was a complete mess on. Mess is not the right word I say, but Matteo was like pushing up, and then he would be in the top 28 or whatever, and then he would drop out, but he would still be in the playoff. And I was like, man, there's so much going on right now. Like 4 people that I don't know what you're trying to explain to me. Is if I had like Nate Perkins to get just thrown to him, where he can just give me a quick breakdown, like fast, speedy, to the point, like boom, boom, boom. All right, get out of here, and then you let Nate Perkins feed him some stats, and then 2 holes later, now give me another
Put them in
update.
front of a whiteboard and
Yeah,
stuff. Like do something goofy with it. Just
so
like,
I can pay
look at this.
attention.
Yeah, like, and kind of just that's what their main focus is. I think that would work. Absolutely. I think it's kind of an interesting perspective. I think it's like the first year to kind of work with it. They always had these like bubble watches, and that's kind of also neat. But when the bubble watches aren't there, these wild cards are going to help like promote and kind of keep that going and like get that interest. And like I said, the fact that 3 Europeans were able to kind of make the trip and be able to kind of qualify, I think is awesome. Like to get that exposure and to help them. And again, it's going to help out the players. The more players that get in there is going to go farther and kind of along those lines. And then I don't know why you wouldn't want more people in that. Like, you know what I mean? It makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about Maple Hill and just the course in general, and why I say it's the closest thing I want for professional disc golf is the gimmicky stuff that it gets away with that people don't consider it gimmicky. You have the big ass gate on 1. You have the castle, whatever it calls, on hole 10. You have these extra added amenities that I feel like Winthrop, for example, where you do them poorly and it just gets shit on and it ruins the idea for every course ever. Where all of a sudden I say like, oh, we should have some man-made things, and all of a sudden I hear, this isn't mini golf. Yeah. It's like, well, no one said that. But Steve Dodge proved you can do it in a way that it's still aesthetically to the course, but adds challenge.
I think it's important to like acknowledge that these are permanent structures also, right? Like, so I think that's kind of important. I did see on the coverage, like there was a little bit of an argument on the coverage where they kind of felt like the pin location on 1 should be pulled closer
To the water?
No,
Or
to the through the gate. So like to the gate. Just because like sometimes you can't. There's no way of getting into that corner deep enough. So like just to be able to have instead of watching people lay up to the gate. That's what they were trying to avoid. But man, when people do hit that for a bird, and it's impressive. Like knowing that you've been there and seen it, I think is kind of cool. And like it's kind of also funny because like this course gets away with some of the flukiness that's out there too. Like, you know what I mean? You have the Christmas trees, you have random spots where you're obstructed and things of that nature. And I think that's kind of like most other spots, people would kind of gripe about that. And for some reason, it's like completely ignored here.
That's such a disc golf thing too.
Yeah.
It's been around. We know it. We just accept it, man.
Can I also
It
say,
really is.
I'll also say like, hey, I got a controversial take and I might be the only one that will have this. I might like, so preface me and like roast me in the comments. I think they should open up the right side of 5, right? 5
and not have to go over the water.
To at least have an opening. My problem is like with FPO, especially when you got a lot of players going on the right and you're just playing it for par. And I'm not saying like make it super wide. I'm just saying like give an opportunity for a birdie if you hit a perfect shot. And there's really not that there right now. It's kind of like you hit that corner and then you're kind of laying up and just shooting a putt. Like you get what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say.
I don't know if they're going to be a well-liked take there.
I get it. Like I make it tight enough to where you still want people to go over the water, and the fact that like Silva did it on a backhand, I think is really impressive. Like to be able to do that, even though I think she was like 50% for it, but like the fact that she still hit it at times on a backhand and ran it every time, even after going OB, I think is. Because she understands that's the only way to get a birdie, and that's what she's playing for. You go on the right, you're acknowledging you're playing it for par. That's what you're kind of doing, and I don't know. And that I think that's also partly because of the way they moved the drop zone on that hole too. They pushed it back a little bit further, and so that may be why a lot more were playing to the right.
Just get the par and move on.
Yeah, precisely. So that would be like a future thing. I know a lot of people kind of didn't like the 17, at least like. I don't mind the gap. It was just more the landing zone and where that played out to be out of the drive. Like I don't really mind the gap as much as people want to say they mind the gap, or pros at times. But it's like I didn't mind that. It was just more like I can understand the argument of like, okay, where do I want to land that disc? Not necessarily, hey, that gap's really tight and that's hard. It's okay, I get through the gap and then I'm still not in a good enough position.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think that was an argument to be had. But other than that, man, you're only going to like, you got to risk the biscuit to like get the praise, right? So you kind of have to go through this process, and like at times it's going to fall short, and at times you make tweaks, and then it becomes great. So it's definitely worth it.
And they're not afraid to make tweaks. So.
No, man, and I think it's sick, and it's it should be a celebrated course. It should stay on the top or the final playoff event, and I think it's kind of neat along those lines, an aspect. And yeah, I quite enjoy it. I think it's a good event. I think it's here to stay. And
yeah, ain't going
I ain't going nowhere.
Unless Steve Dodge is going to create his own other new tour. It's going to stay forever on Disc Golf Pro Tour. And I like that. And they're making ways out to the course to remember the iconic moments they present. For those that don't know, Chipmunk Gate on 1 that was named after the first ever Disc Golf Pro Tour moment. You have on hole 18 a plaque on the drop zone for Proctor's putt when he won last season. They're creating, it's almost like they're trying to be like a Disney World of disc golf, where you're coming there to see these iconic things, but also you're there to play, but you could also be there just to spectate. There's a variety of opportunities that Maple Hill brings besides just we're a cool disc golf course. You got the shop, you have the restaurant now. You have you might just see Simon Lazar when you're teeing off on hole 1. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, to some, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, right after you smoke the most keefed out joint of your life, he's like, "Can you make it over the pond?"
Bro, we were smelly when he showed up.
I like it. We're like, we're not throwing in front of you, and then he's like, "You can be on the vlog," and automatically was, "So what you're throwing right now?" Like this second you were throwing.
Yeah,
that was a moment.
Hacking along, and all of a sudden I'm on fucking Simon's vlog. That was wild. Like,
that's a top moment. That was 2 years ago now. That's crazy. That's actually wild. Because I remember when he put it up, I think we had like 11K or something, like 10K at the time, just to think back at our first Maple Hill. Wow. Damn. Crazy. Craziness. Also a bummer because I have to endure the comments on Facebook or Reddit whenever someone will bring us up like, is disc golf world good for the sport? And everyone's like, what do they even do besides complain online? I like to point at last year's MVP Open when that 8 holes were getting shit on. I got to interview them, talk about what they did. That's a part of the culture that we'll never get again. Thanks, guys. Moving on. And Maple Hill also has the CTP thing every year.
Yeah.
Does anyone pay attention to that?
I think it's a great spectator event. I don't know if it like plays out the greatest like on coverage.
It's like 11K right now.
Yeah, is it? That's not bad.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
11K, I feel.
For like a side piece,
I guess. True.
Broadcast. I don't think it's that bad.
I guess free views.
Oh, it's
I guess you just clip it, whatever. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I felt bad because I was like, do I put this in the video? Is it worth like recapping? And then I just like, nah.
I'll tell you what. Give me another spot that does it better besides World Championships distance.
Like for a little special, whatever. Yeah. Then Des Moines always has an ace off on hole 5.
Okay.
Which I think you pay like for X amount of throws, and then it goes to a charity or something. Okay. And if you hit it, you get money.
And they broadcast it all?
Oh, no broadcast.
That's what I'm trying.
Oh, does anyone what? I feel yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. I guess you can add the Creators Cup if people were that great of a fan of that.
The Creators Cup was like the most pop-in side piece content for sure. I think this year, but even that, I think got like. I'm not gonna 60K maybe. I don't even know how. Let's check out how that did.
Let's check it out.
Let's check how the thing we're never gonna get.
But I kind of like the CTP a little bit better than the like what they do like $1 million ace the year prior, or was that 2 years when we were there, where they had like if you aced,
I think that was 2 years ago. They've been doing the CTP. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where they had the ace challenge, and then I think was it somebody hit the top? Was it Vinny who hit the top? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
The 60K views for the Creator Challenge.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad. That's about half the amount of people that I watched Jomez. Jomez just hit 50,000. No,
or
500,000. That's a thing.
I know they were close. That was pretty cool. Good for Jomez.
Yeah, and it's cool. That'll be celebrated by the masses.
I got you.
The only other thing that is professional disc golf wise that I think will be announced officially probably at the off season. Ben Calloway made a post. I don't know if you saw this, saying that this will most likely be his last ever Maple Hill.
Oh, wow.
And then he goes on, he did like a little AMA on Instagram when he's driving to, I'm assuming, Winthrop. And someone asked like a follow-up. And he's like, hey, I'm not going to answer this now. You guys can guess. I'm not going to say yes or no. I think that is going to be leaning into we're no longer going to see Ben Calloway on tour, right? That's like really the only thing can't assume he hates Maple Hill that much that he's just going to exclude that event.
Yeah, especially on the payday of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're kind of right on that. Man, Ben's been doing it for a good minute.
He's only been touring full time since 2021.
I think but
he's been around the game.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yeah, and especially like a Midwest name that we kind of know of. Also, but I think, man, Ben's talented, and I think like not enough people we see it all the time when we're on tour, where you're just like, Ben has that type of game where it pops, and you're like, whoa, this dude can like seriously do it.
I remember sitting hole one of Emporia texting you, being like, oh, this guy's got some power to him, and very underrated. And then he popped off this year to get his first ever win. I wouldn't be surprised if even part of that's like, hey, this is the best I've ever done.
For sure.
Here's someone broke down on Reddit the cash earnings, but like he got I forget what it was, but a large portion of his money this year was because of that Croco win. He has a wife and a daughter to take care of. That he's Absolutely. Same thing we talk about Kristen and being away from your family for that long and touring. Like it's not the glamorous lifestyle. At some point, you got to be like, hey, I did the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's time to hang it up.
It's kind of time to do some landscaping.
Some shit
That's not a joke. He really does enjoy.
Oh, does he? I was like, whoa.
No. Yeah, hold on. No, like I do remember him like saying at one point, like, I don't deep cut. I hope you're right. Yeah, I really hope I'm right too. Like, or this is going to be embarrassing. Where he enjoys doing like landscaping.
I think I do remember him saying something like that.
Cool.
And he'll still be a regional pro. I think he's still going to tear up the Midwest. I still think you're going to see him at Preserve.
Sure.
Preserve, Ledgestone, Deglo, maybe Emporia, Kansas. Like, there's so many good courses and tournaments in that 8-hour span that he can pull out weekends if he wants to.
And man, so I know we kind of thought that like last off season there was going to be a lot of this like regional tours, and I think there was kind of a little bit of this like, hey, first world's overseas. Hey, you know what I mean? Like there were certain historic moments where I think a lot of people said, all right, let's make a run. Like, you know what I mean? This is our run.
Give it my all this year.
Yeah, precisely. And so we'll see what happens this offseason. I don't think the contracts are going to get that much better. Everything's inflationary now. You have a terrible time of like funding tours now than what it used to be. And so it's kind of an interesting like fluctuation on it. And we'll see how it comes. And like I said, Ben's been a talent. He's like one of the greatest guys on tour. Like he's nice.
I appreciate
absolutely, man. And like I know he's like homies with a lot of the Europeans. And he makes an effort to kind of get to know everybody. And like Ben's good people. It's a shame, but I'm also happy for him, man. I really am.
You can't be mad at ending your career with the DGPT you win.
No, not at all.
Those are going to get harder and harder to come by. You hit it in right now the hardest area to ever do it. It was awesome. Good to see your game. Yeah. For real. The last thing I want to talk about, like wrap up this podcast, has nothing to do with professional disc golf, so you guys can peace out if you don't give a fuck about that. I filmed a local tournament this weekend. I didn't really ask. It kind of just showed up. I realized, hey, maybe I should. Like, I was like, hey, this is my course. I'm here every day.
I think we're kind of used to like, hey, we beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission.
So I just showed up. And I was like, I know a bunch of people in the area. So I look around for a name or a face. I'm like, all right, who do I know here? But I eventually just, found a few friends, jumped around. And then second round, I wasn't even going to do it. But I was like, fuck it. I'm here. Let's just record final round. It was so tight. I jumped on chase card first, assuming where my buddy was there. So I was like, all right, if you guys pop off. And then by hole 7, I was like, all right, I'm going to ride out this lead card now. And it was funny because I think at first they thought I was a player. And they're like, why do you got a camera? Like, what are you doing here? Because there's a backup. And I'm like, you guys are MPO lead card, man. I'm filming you. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah. Like, you guys can't have a problem with that. Like, you made lead card. Like, what are you going to say? No.
Yeah.
And then it was cool because I was wearing Disc Golf World, try to be like a little more official. And they're like, oh, like cool. I'm like, I'm like,
I like those guys too.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Someone did say that. I'm like, I'm one of them. I'm like, nice to meet you. He's like, no way. Like, yeah. Or I'll say another guy. Like, I was like, just doing introducing. He's like, I'm Jefferson. Like, you're the YouTube guy. I'm like, yep, I am the YouTube guy. So I met the president of the Illinois Illinois. What's the some Illinois college, big one. I forgot already.
Illinois State or Illinois University?
Something like that for sure.
Okay.
Something like
Gotcha.
that. I met the president, got contact info. They record all their rounds post coverage wise. So I was like, hey, you should just talk to the college disc golf news people, say anything about there. And then so it was cool to be in contact. And that guy ended up winning. So I was like, here, here's the disc golf world hat. You're good. Represent. So shout out Dalton for taking down the dub, and there will be coverage somewhere. Like I'm not posting it here. And that's why everyone was like, "This is at disc golf world." I was like, "No, no way, dude."
Sorry, man.
I'm like,
Unfortunately.
no. But it was fun. I had my first person ever be like, "You really shouldn't be doing this." That was fun.
Oh, really?
Because it was actually the second day. Because I was like, "Hey, I got nothing else going on. I'm passing the course. I'm gonna show up for like the MA2, MA3." And the MA4, because I still, honestly, more people I know are in those divisions. So I was just popping out for the day. And I'm walking, and I just hear, Jefferson! I'm like, cool, that's where I'm going. Yeah. And it was a guy. And then I record their group in their MA3. So they're doing their thing, not playing great. And I'm just recording everyone, And then I'm walking down, and the guy's like, I loosely know this. Like, we're friends, but it's like, I only see you Saturday mornings if you also happen to show up at league. Okay. And he's like, yeah, these guys were just talking about, they hate when people just start recording things. Yeah. I'm like, that's what I'm doing right now. And he's like, yeah, but you're fine. Bro, what? Oh, you should have gave me a warning before I just filmed everyone shit the bed.
Nice.
So
awesome.
that was cool. And then the same day that I show up, that's why I was even there on the recording, was I played the morning league, and I got paired up with an 8-year-old. That was an experience. It's cool to see the young generation.
Did you have an 8-year-old with his goatee that you're trying to rock? Because that would be kind of weird, bro. I'm not gonna. That would be stranger danger land, dude.
This is a mistake. I didn't even want this right now.
Man, dude,
I thought we made it this far before we acknowledged. Go ahead. But no, it was an 8-year-old, very small 8-year-old. He's trying his best. The first time I've ever seen those dyno discs in person that someone should actually be using them it was upsetting a little bit to my heart when we were like on hole 13, and all I hear is like the dad being like, "Why are you crying, buddy?" I'm like, "Fuck, man, why?" Because he wasn't playing good. Yeah, and I'm sure even to his standard. But even he was little, throwing glitches up and putting. It was dope to see. Afterwards, I gave him a disc golf world hat and a disc. I was like, "Hey, don't give up." I was like, "I know this sucks." Yeah. And I played shitty too, so I was like also really pissed. But I was like, I gotta like be a good example and not
also
like, saying
don't
the
watch
F
our
word.
content.
Oh yeah,
not for a while. Could I go on a little rant? And mine's going to be about professional. So I want to go on a little bit of a rant as far as the player of the year. We already know Gannon's going to win it in the MPO, right? So that's kind of not really of a race for us on that. It's more the FPO. And I think there's going to be a lot of chatter after this win about Missy, this playoff win, giving Missy the player of the year. I think you have a little bit of recency bias on this. Now, here is my problem, and this is what upsets me the most about it. Because if it was me, if I had a vote, which we all know, DGPT ain't going to give us one of those. But if I had a vote, my vote 100% to Silva Sarnen on this year, hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if Throw Pink's involved or not. It doesn't matter. She's in it in my books. Now, the reason that is, you can't have the argument of all the talking heads in this sport about how bad it sucks that Kristen Lott is gone and no longer part of this tour, and we're going to miss her, and it's a detriment to the game, and it hurts the game, and yada, yada, all this, right? Sure. And then try to promote or prop up Missy Gannon, for a lack of a better term, on her win at Deglow, or was it, Ledgestone? And this last one. When she's not in attendance. When all of Silva's victories came with Kristen in attendance. That's my argument. And like, you can't herald losing Kristen as this bad and then having those victories, albeit they're huge and they come with great paydays. I'm not going to argue that. And maybe I'm just a little also dismayed at just the way the FPO action kind of played out this weekend wasn't great. Like, I don't think there was like a definitive, I went out and won this per se, right? I think there was a lot of fault. I think there was a lot of poor scoring and there was a lot of fluctuation. So I think that's also part of it. But I don't want to hear that of like, hey, she won this event, she gets player of the year. I disagree. And we're going to take this win in a shortened field that obviously wasn't that impressive. She didn't have a great final day. She shot 50% from C1X. That would be a laughing stock if Evelina won it that way.
Sure, yeah.
And you know what I mean? And now we're going to take this narrative of she's going to be this and this is the great and she deserves it. Does her stats back up that she deserves player of the year? I can't argue that. She's got this. She's tied for the most wins. She's got a major under her belt, no different than Silva. So you can use that as an argument, but do not say this MVP win gives her the victory. That is what I will disagree with. Like, because it shouldn't happen. That it should one win shouldn't define you getting the Player of the Year award. And again, you want to prop up Kristen and what she's done and how great she is. Silva beat her every time. Missy can't say that.
This is true. Do you know how many less events Silva's competed in, or if there is any?
Ooh, than Missy?
Yeah.
I don't think as many as like Evelina and them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because Evelina
Silva's
took more
at 16 events. Missy, I guess, at 17. So
yeah. Nothing along those lines. But like
they both have a major.
Both have a major. Missy's got a plus. I'm not sure if Silva has a plus. And she has a playoff.
Do we count playoffs as cooler? I guess because there's more rounds.
People will, I guess. Yeah, even though it's just 2, and technically you got like the stronger field or a stronger field than most, like in theory.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Even though everyone's still there for the most part, especially in the FPO.
Well, good thing is we won't have to feel responsible because we're not voting. So
yeah, I'm not.
But not on hands.
I just want to make it clear that's who I would have voted. So that's all.
Now you guys know.
But yeah, we're not gonna get one of those. Never.
Maybe one. No, just kidding.
You really thought for a minute. You're like, maybe next year.
Well, I've always used to have this sense of optimism. That's gone.
Oh yeah, that's boat
sailed.
Yeah.
That's all right. Do you have any other rants or things you want to say?
I think I'm good on that.
I think I'm pretty good as well. We talked long enough. 30 minutes is good enough for you guys. It's longer than our normal shit. Thank you guys so much for supporting. If you made it this far, you might as well just press that subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, go get a friend to subscribe. See you next one.
If you're gonna be at USDGC, hit your boys up.
We're gonna be there, walking around doing our thing.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Maybe. That's if we still get media.
We'll still be there doing our thing.
Yeah. But
Smoking and doping.
Later. We're now gonna get like government watched at us.